Well, product analytics involves transforming product level data into actionable insights, which can then be leveraged to enhance operational efficiency and increase overall sales. Here to discuss this category in further detail are Irad Bengal, Chairman and Co-founder at CB4 Analytics, and Tamir Koningsberg, Chairman at CodeScan at Adjusty.co and at Hour1.ai. Passing the mic on to Carl Boutet now, who will be moderating again.
Thanks. Really appreciate it. So this, I'm really excited about this one because this is one of my favorite topics, and anything that makes retailers smarter and more adaptable and I'm able to understand how their consumers are moving through their journey is critical. And maybe I also, Irad, have a bit of a soft spot for your company because you share my initials, CB. So I'm that much more excited about what you're going to be saying. So I'll hand it off to you.
So CB4 is actually to see things before, and I'm happy that we got the chance to present here. And I must say that I'm extremely impressed by the fact that we start on time. Maybe this is part of the shift that we are all having from the offline to the online, but impressive. So I understand that I have a few minutes to show CB4. Is it,
Yep.
Is it the agenda?
Yeah. So you have, let's say, if you can do around 5 minutes would be great.
Yes. So what I thought, I'll start with a clip that I think explain exactly what we do, and then we'll follow with maybe 1 or 2 slides to discuss the COVID-19 effect in the recent months. So let me know if you can see the screen and if you can hear it.
Costly operational issues prevent shoppers from easily buying the products they want in their local store. It's often hard for store teams to spot these problems, resulting in lost sales and disappointed shoppers. Exceptional customer experiences in brick and mortar begin when shoppers can find and buy what they want with as little friction as possible. Retailers use CB4 to spotlight hidden operational issues that affect the products that each location's shoppers want most. We refer to these as products with high local demand. How do we do this? CB4's patented AI technology uncovers hidden patterns in simple POS data. Here's a simplified example. Each row here is an individual store in a chain. Each column is the product that's sold in those stores. The dots represent high, medium, and low volume sales. With trillions of combinations, finding a pattern is difficult for traditional analytics tools. It's even harder for the human eye. Here's how 10 products sell at just 10 stores. Do you see a pattern anywhere? Finding really tough, even when you look at just a fraction of the data. But once you use artificial intelligence to rearrange this data, a distinct pattern emerges. There are 6 stores that share a behavior pattern. They sell these 4 products nearly identically. Outlier is the moto jacket, which appears to have comparable sales in all stores except Rollin. In fact, Rollin have high sales of the moto jacket. The condition in stores preventing it from selling the way it should. CB4's Apple lists the only store manager to let her know it has the opportunity to sell moto jackets. CB4 plays the store manager if she looks for the issue that's holding back sales in her store. The rack of moto coats looks fine, but is missing popular sizes. Stock size roll on the floor. Sales for the moto jacket at the Raleigh store now rise to where they should be. If we zoom out to the whole chain, you'll uncover a wealth of opportunities for your store managers to capture lost sales. CB4 is high impact with a low ask. That's why these retailers love CB4. Need to see it to believe it? Plug your POS data into our engine and see the results for yourself. What we find might surprise you. Get in touch with us now to learn more.
Yes, thanks, Irad. So I think the audio for me anyways was choppy a bit at times, so there are probably some parts that we missed, but I'm convinced that people will be able to go on your website and find that video and look at it again, because it seems very interesting how it's doing the pattern, the shopper pattern recognition and adjusting it to inventory levels. So maybe in another minute or 2, if you want to just kind of quickly give us the rest of what you wanted to say, and then we'll hand it over to Maxime and Amir.
Sure. So first, I apologize. Do you see my screen now? Is it working on a full screen or a presenter screen?
Presenter screen.
Okay, so let me just switch it. And now you should see it okay, I believe.
Yes,
So,
very quickly.
Great. So as I'm sorry that it didn't work well. So as you could understand, what we use is basic POS data in physical stores to uncover hidden local purchasing patterns that represent how shoppers are buying product in that store. And based on that, we detect unrealized local demand anomalies. These are anomalies that are based on patterns, and those anomalies are then translated or mapped into recommendation to fix the issue. So the whole cycle works as follows. You have the POS data, it goes to the engine on a daily or weekly basis. It finds those hidden patterns with anomalies, translate them to feedback to store manager recommendations, and then you have a cycle of learning from the feedback that we get from the store or based on other data source that we obtain to refine those cycles. And it's an ongoing cycles. We have some customers that are working with us more than 4 or 5 years now, and they continuously see an improvement in their customer experience and the operational issues in the store. So this is how it works. It's important to understand that similar to other solutions that we saw, it can track a lot of issues related to shelf, but not only to shelf. It's a solution that looks at the bottom line, at the POS data, and can tell you whether or not any operational action will actually increase the bottom line. With that in mind, what I want to say, in these days is that this type of technology was found to be very relevant in the recent months or so when we have the COVID-19 effect, because in fact you have so many operational issues, specifically in grocery, supermarkets and drugstores, that you have to decide how to prioritize it. And when you have data, the current data that you can find those anomalies among the stores, you can actually prioritize those actions. And many of our customers from that segment worked with us continuously during that period. And maybe the last thing I wanted to mention is that, COVID-19 is definitely a black swan. And when you have black swans, it kills historical data. You cannot learn based on the past because the past is no longer relevant. And again, the fact that you can take ad hoc a picture of all your POS data and find just on the spot those anomalies is something that is totally different than some historical data analysis, time series analysis, and provide very, very insightful issues that should be fixed at the store. So I can stop right here. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that's something we're all struggling with right now. Is a lot of our AI requires massive data sets that are often historic now and kind of irrelevant. So when you get to exception-based reporting like this, it's almost, you got to be in real time, and requires some really smart analytics and algorithms to figure that out. Amir, I'm going to start with you, and then maybe have Maxime afterwards come on, but I'm sure you have some comments or questions for Irad. Amir, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. So yeah, I'd love to hear a bit more about how CB4 is actually using, historical data or the irrelevant historical data to really figure out what's going on in store in these really unprecedented times. And then also just hear a bit about the implementation practice of, in the ongoing cycle of actually working with retailers in this climate.
Thank you. So as I explained, we don't need a lot of historical data, which is exactly a very good high advantage when you talk about a black swan or a certain type of event that didn't happen before. You cannot use historical data to learn, for example, that people will bake more during COVID-19 times, you know. And the fact that you take the data and you can reorganize it, and immediately you can find anomalies, meaning a store that follow a very specific pattern like other stores with respect only to a subset of product, but for some reason is not selling all those products as they should, give you an immediate indication that there might be something wrong operationally at that store that prevent that product from being sold as it should. And it's very interesting at that time to map it to a recommendation to that store manager and find all the difference between that store and the other store that follow that specific pattern in order to give some kind of root analysis indication what you should look for. And the fact that you are doing it, you know, twice a week, once a week, continuously, and you are getting, let's say if we send a recommendation per each store, and you're talking about, you know, a chain of 200 stores, you get 2,000 or sometime more recommendation per week, and you can actually do the analysis to refine those next recommendation in the next iteration. And this is how it works.
Right.
Now, regarding implementation.
Yes, quickly, please.
So regarding implementation, it's very simple. What we basically need is POS data, and it is uploaded into the cloud. And once it is there, the engine will find those patterns. And the only thing that the store manager or region managers needs to do is to upload a simple app and immediately get recommendations. Each recommendation will have a price tag, will give an indication how much it will increase the sales, again, based on this benchmark with the other stores. And immediately you can generate money and you can track it. It's a very nice solution in terms of monetization, with a bottom line that is between 0.5 to 2.5% the same store growth over all our customers. So it takes something like a week to implement it, something like a day to run a POC. Wow,
very, very powerful. Just maybe to close in our last 2 minutes, Maxime, you have a quick question?
Yes, so Irad, I'm sure you're aware of this, that online and offline are kind of merging together and there's a very blurry line. I was wondering if you guys try to look at a retailer that has both online and physical presence and using the online data as an early signal for anomaly detection in the physical world.
I couldn't ask for a better question. Yes, the answer is yes. Many of our retailers now have both online and offline. As you are indicating, many times the online provide an early detection for the offline, but you'll be surprised to know that it's also the opposite. Sometimes the offline can be used to provide an insight about the online. Now, the nice thing is that when you talk about the online, actually, since you know those customers' address, you can actually think about the online as a local virtual store. And you can actually analyze these patterns like you analyze physical stores and find a very interesting interaction between online and offline stores that are located virtually in the same place. And there are a huge amount of opportunities there.
So the POS data from the online transactions is treated almost in the same way as a physical store's POS
Not
data.
exactly the same way. You have to analyze it a little bit differently. But the nice thing is that with only POS data, if you know how to find those patterns, you can find many, many interesting insights. It's like fuzzy segmentation. You know, conditional retailers usually segment the stores to fix segment. With this type of technology, you can segment the store in a fuzzy way. So each store belongs to several clusters at the same time.
Thank you so much, Irad. Listen, I mean, these are all topics that we could spend hours on because we're all so passionate about this information. I just want to thank you, Irad, Amir, for joining us. Maxime and I are going to be now just becoming passive listeners, but we again, I want to thank you. Encourage you to reach out if you're interested in hearing more about what Maxime and I do in our topics of research at McGill and other endeavors we're involved with in our consulting. So please have it again. Thanks to Oren for the invitation. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.